Convention Center in Big D. If you would like to bring your car to sell at the auction there, sign up now. Consign now. We're expecting a great lineup of vehicles in Dallas, and you can head to Mecum.com to get a preview of what's coming up 6th, 7th, and 8th of October of this year. We've got to do next month in St. Charles, and then we head south to Dallas. Looking forward to our first trip to Big D.
Why, it's a big D. My, oh yes. Why, it's a big D. Little A-double-L-A. Big D, little A-double-L-A. Big D, little A-double-L-A. Yes. Whoa, $320,000 on a 2000 Porsche Carrera GT, the super high-end exotic that Porsche built just about the time that Lamborghini was doing the Murcielago. And you had the McLaren F1, and you had the Mercedes McLaren SLR. And here is the equivalent in the Porsche Camp with a 615 horsepower 6-speed Carrera GT. At one time, the most desirable Porsche ever built, and at 335. Nobody's turning their nose up at this either.
How did you get from that song to this Porsche so quickly and smoothly, Mr. Stevens?
That's why they call me the magician.
Well, I tell you what, it's no trick that the reserve is off on this Porsche. $335,000, John Kramer.
Yeah,
I'm about ready to jump out of my seat.
That's a lot of money, but I'll tell you, this is a tremendous amount of car. Bill hit right in the head when this car is made to compete with the world's top supercars. And this one only with 1,550 miles. It's a one-owner car, fully documented, and it sells. Goes big money, $335,000.
And it is our number 3 seller of the auction here in Monterey. What an absolutely stunning car. Front to back, top to bottom, it is unbelievable. 1,550 miles. Long way to go on that baby.
Yeah. And even due for its first oil change.
Yeah, right. No That'll cost you a pretty penny, by the way.
Yeah. That probably holds about 30 quarts.
Right. 62 Mercedes 190 SL, little roadster here for us to take a look at. It's a convertible, but with the hardtop on board, and the number already at 55,000.
Yeah, the popularity of these cars is really twofold. The reason for it is twofold. One is the styling. I mean, Mercedes-Benz really had a distinctive and an innovative styling a regimen that nobody else really kind of picked up on for a long time. And two, the cars of extreme high quality. And that's important today, because if you want a vintage car such as this and you want to take it out and drive it and enjoy it on the weekends, you want some level of reliability. The good news is with the Mercedes-Benz, they are really overbuilt, well engineered. As long as they're just even remotely maintained, they will absolutely last almost forever, Bill.
Look at the money on this car. $60,000. Reserve is off. Again, not a neck-snapping muscle car, not a car that has any kind of a racing provenance whatsoever, but just the style, which is eternal. This car always will look good. And as you say, John, the durability of an automobile that will last for quite a while, and really fun to drive. A very enjoyable driving experience.
Well, and what a great color combination. Kind of that medium, kind of a steel blue with that bright red interior. Beautiful.
And as that one moves along, after selling at $60,000, we've got a serious big coin car here, guys. 1957 Thunderbird Phase 1 DF. They only built 15 of these to go racing. This is specifically to go racing with a 312, 300 horsepower engine, and only 8 of them are still around as we speak today.
This is a big car for a Ford collector, a Thunderbird collector in particular. This is, in fact, the holy grail. Not to wax too poetic about this car, but it is a real thrill and real honor to have something this significant here. This will be a 6-figure Thunderbird all the way through. This car is so rare. It really kind of was developed really to compete with the Corvette. The Corvette being much lighter, and Corvette, courtesy of Zora Arkustuntov, really tweaking the car to make it go racing. Ford wanted to give it one try just to see if their sporty two-seat car could compete with the Corvette. And as a result of that, we will see big money bidding on this 57 Thunderbird Phase 1 DF in Inca Gold. Very unusual color itself, Bill.
Yep, with a manual transmission and a supercharger. You may have got a good look at the top of the motor just a few moments ago. Very primitive supercharger. The technology for that kind of induction has come a long way since then, but at the time, that's pretty much cutting edge for a forced induction system on a standard production Y-block engine.
Got the 3-speed manual transmission. You see the shifter there. This also does have overdrive. The gauges on top of the dashboard there, or on top of the steering column, are to monitor the engine parameters, including supercharger boost. And of course, documentation there on the seat, proving once and for all, original Ford documentation proving that this car is authentic and accurate. It's not a recreation or replica. And wow, we are at $260,000 and not done yet.
You know, interesting, you mentioned the documentation. The original Ford invoice doesn't mention the overdrive. However, the dealer invoice to the first owner does have that overdrive listed as part of the equipment list.
Well, and Scott, here we go. Reserve comes off at $260,000.
Wow.
Lots of love for the DF Bird today.
Could they ask the auctioneer to talk a little slower? I can't really understand what he's saying.
All you need to do is look at the top of the screen, Bill. 260.
Wow.
Yep. The first, I don't know if you mentioned this, John, first Thunderbird to receive a perfect score in the CTCI judging. This has been shown at Amelia Island, Meadowbrook, and just down the road here at the Palm Beach Concours d'Elegance, one of the most famous in the world. Or sorry, I meant at Palm Beach. Pebble Beach is going on tomorrow, but it was at Palm Beach.
Yeah, that's not really right down the road. But
yeah, right.
Thanks for trying.
That's the other coast, but you know.
Yeah,
we knew what you meant.
Brain fade there for a
meant.
minute.
Okay.
And correction of the price, it does sell for $250,000.
How about that? Take a good look at it. You don't see it very often. 57 T-Bird. We will roll that one off the block and roll away to another break here on HD Theater. Is there more to come? You bet, including a car that General Eisenhower and Admiral Nimitz rode around in. Stay tuned.
Are you ready to save up to 95% on what you want most? Then try Quibids.com, an exciting new way to shop for products like iPads, MacBooks, HDTVs, cameras, appliances, and more. Imagine getting a new Apple iPad today for just $23.74. Or how about a Samsung 50-inch TV for as little as $84.95? Or a brand new Honda Civic for $1,800. On Quibids, deals like this happen every day. Quibids is a unique auction website. Each auction starts at $0. When someone places a bid, the price increases by as little as 1 cent. The result is insanely low prices. On Quibids, you can save up to 95% off retail.
I got a MacBook Pro laptop for $67.
Stop everything and visit Quibids.com right now. Enter the promo code below to receive 10 free bids. That's QUIBIDS.com. Go to Quibids.com now.
I think everybody lost a piece of themselves on that day.
That's why we're rebuilding.
I'm committed to stay here from the first bolt to the last bolt.
This job's different.
I'm in awe every day that I come to work.
I just look forward to the time when the angels come to collect those souls.
Rising, presented commercial-free Thursday at 8 on Discovery.
anybody can get the job done, that's the man.
I've never sold one this cheap.
Very rare, completely original and unrestored.
Museum showpiece. This is awesome.
Anybody can design and build their own motorcycle. You add a few things, you repaint it, you do it the way you want.
We'll build a period race bike out of this thing.
Bike is gonna get torn down or rebuilt. Boom, baby. I defy anyone to say this bike isn't a Norton.
One of these players is going to walk away with $1 million first place prize and a coveted WPT title.
It's never going to get old playing for $1 million.
The fame, the fortune. He's the favorite to win this hand and take this title right here, right now.
Anything can happen at the TT. I knew it was going to be down to the last lap. I just thought if I try to do anything stupid here, I could lose. It was just an amazing feeling. Just fantastic for the team.
This is the only vintage Indy winner two-place car ever offered publicly for sale.
$1.5 million, Greg.
Yep.
Hey! $1,950,000!
$2 million. $2 million.
Going once. Last chance.
2 times. Go away. 3 times. Sold. Front row, $2 million.
We missed it.
And there you see it. As it sits now, sold $2 million. Bobby McLaughlin's bidder on the phone was just a nanosecond late at getting in a bid that might have kept that going a little bit longer, but nonetheless, what a moment that was. A short time ago here in Monterey. Onto the block now, and just rolling away is this 1934 Packard Super 8 that we talked about just before the break here, John. A car that General Dwight Eisenhower and Admiral William Nimitz and others paraded in. It's got Secret Service jump seats, and the bid at $125,000. A historical car here.
Yeah, that's really astonishing that that the what are referred to as the parade log have stayed with this car all this time. There's no question that those luminaries did, in fact, have a chance to ride in this car. It's been completely restored. That's a straight 8 engine that Packard used in 1934, putting out about 384 cubic inches, 145 horsepower, plenty of pep. For such a big, heavy car. Packard was known for that back in the day. It's a 3-speed manual transmission.
Does that work for you?
And the reserve comes off at $125,000.
Look at that. That's cool.
Yeah.
125. $130,000 reserves on the one and much more.
It's got the original engine. I don't know if you mentioned that, John. 384, 145 horsepower.
Yeah.
Mostly original interior. Very cool. Mike Hagerman now our auctioneer as we see the numbers click up to 130.
130,000 on the internet right now.
And an internet bidder is the high bidder at the moment. You know what? If you're watching at home, you too could be a click away from owning one of these cars. How do they? And on the telephone as well in the upper left. How do they sign up for being to be an internet or a telephone bidder, John?
Telephone bidders and internet bidders need to be pre-registered prior to the start of the auction. All information is available at mecum.com.
And like you have to have enough money to bid, right?
Well, yeah, we assume that that would be taken care of ahead of time. Sure. So go ahead and sign up anytime, Bill.
I think I'll hold off on that.
132.5 on, which one was it, the internet or the phone? Couldn't tell. Anyway, it sold nonetheless. 132.5 on that 1934 Packard. What a beauty. All right, John.
Just read 1973 Ferrari 365 GTB4 Daytona Spider. 4.4-liter V12 engine, 5-speed transaxle, and Barani wire wheels. And this particular Spider started its life as a coupe. And Scaglietti does a fantastic job of converting the coupes over to the Spider, which is the convertible drop-top configuration. It was done very, very early on in its life. In fact, by the original owner. Black leather interior, classic Rosso Corsa red. This is what a 1973 Ferrari GTB4 Daytona Spider is all about.
Money, 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 money.
Yep.
You know, we've seen a couple of cars over the years here on our Mecum auctions that started out originally as not convertibles. We've talked about what that does when you change it to a convertible to affect the handling of the car. What about on a car like this, John, from '73, when you take it, make it from a coupe to a convertible? What's that do to that?
Well, yeah, it's a great question. And certainly some of the structural rigidity of the actual unit construction of the car is in fact compromised. But the good news is if the conversion is done properly, they take that into account, and they do put bracing and other modifications to retain some level of rigidity. And of course, what gives this car a lot of credibility, which is why we're knocking on the $300,000 door, is because it was done by a very credible company. In fact, Scaglietti even did conversions for the Ferrari factory. So it's very credible and very acceptable in the Ferrari community to have a Daytona conversion, Spider conversion, that started life as a coupe. No foul there at all.
The original Spiders will always be worth way more, but you're not really getting hurt too badly if the conversion is done by a Ferrari authorized facility, no question.
Air conditioning car too. At 4.4-liter V12. You know, this is amazing. Here we are seeing cars go for $100,000, $200,000, $300,000. It's pretty quiet in here at the moment. After that, $2 million Indy 500 winner went a while ago.
A mere $290,000 bid.
Right. And the bid goes on there. And let's head out to our boatman, Stephen Cox, with a look at the next machine on the block, a 73 21-foot Riva Olympic.
Well, the Olympic has a wonderful history behind it, especially this particular model of it. First of all, if you look at Riva's boats, a lot of them had very long lives. For instance, the Riva Aquarama was produced for like 35 years. They just kept making that boat. Well, this one had a life from 1969 to 1979, and that was just about it. So there aren't many Olympics out there. The Olympic was so named because it was built in honor of the 1968 Olympics, which were in Mexico City. And they made about 275 of these boats, so very few of them still exist. Now, this had a 4-hour endurance, which for a boat of its class was very, very respectable. And remember, nobody cares about miles per gallon in a boat. It's more like an airplane. It's how many hours can you stay either aloft or, in this case, on the water. Now, John, you mentioned a few minutes ago, well, what kind of engines are in these? Well, this originally came out with a Riva V8, but that has since been changed to a General Motors Marine engine that is also in V8 configuration. So a bit of compromise with history there. But something I want you to take note of on this boat. Let's take a look at the sun deck. The sun deck, you'll notice, is unusually wide. Now, I want you to compare this in your mind to the 1920s and 30s boats that we've seen over the past couple of days. This sun deck is huge. It's padded, it's easy, it's very, very comfortable, and here's why. This is a 1973 boat, but throughout the late 19th century and the first half of the 20th century, it was very unfashionable for a woman to have a suntan. The smoking hot babes of their day were actually very pale. They just didn't, it was not fashionable at all. But after World War II, that's really when it became fashionable for a woman to have a suntan. And so the sun decks came out on and were reflected. The styles were reflected in the boats that were built after World War II, and they became bigger and bigger and more comfortable and more cushy. And this boat in 1973 would house, I don't know, how many bikini-clad women? Bill, what do you think? Can you fit 4 up there?
Keep talking. You're making me hot.
But you know, that kind of explains the reasons behind the building of the boat, and really, Riva responded to the fashions of the day. So that's the story behind the boat, guys.
Well, as you've seen, the bid goes on at $43,000 on that 1973 Riva, the most modern hull design for a wooden Riva. We will break away, return to Monterey in just a moment.
The Rebels of the Roadway are back for a new season of Cafe Racer.
Race bikes are meant to be beat. It's just gonna go fast.
There's a lot of different kinds of people who are interested in motorcycles, not just your typical stereotype biker.
As the Cafe Racer team is back to building all new bikes.
Everyone's laughing at me, but nobody had a clue what they were staring at.
We have 40 years of knowledge. Things have changed.
Don't miss an all-new Cafe Racer, Wednesday at 9 on HD Theater.